Good evening, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Have you ever wondered how to leave a legacy? What matters most? Well, stick around. We got a giant panel for you. Good evening, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris. And as always, I'm here with your host, Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls. And tonight, I'm just going to kick it right over to Nick to introduce our panel and anything else that he wants to talk about because he's the leader. He's in control. I just do the comments, so I can only get in trouble for those.
Yeah, that works. So just allow the good ones through and block the rest, right? We have another expert panel tonight. We're going to dive into legacy and the meaning of life, what really matters in life. And so before we dive in, we have no idea how these are going to go. We just ask that you participate. If you have comments, questions, thoughts, you want to ask anybody on the panel a question, put that into the comments as well, and we'll pull it up on screen and talk about that. So what I'm going to have you do is go around the room and introduce yourselves briefly. I'll start with Terri at the top and just let our audience know who you are.
Hey, everybody. I'm Terri Britt. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a spiritual coach, intuitive healer, founder of Women Leaders of Love, which is a global community. I'm a writer, author. Way back when I was a former Miss USA and a television host.
Amazing. Thank you. Jenn Walter. We got both. Yeah, I guess I should finish the last name too. Jenn Walter, let's go to you.
Jenn Walter from Minnesota. I am also known as the Minister of Culture for the Giants. I work in an engineering company and I do a lot of map work. I love maps and I'm excited to be here.
I love it. Glad to have you here. Dr. Moreland.
Hello, everybody. Super excited to be here. I'm Will Moreland. I'm a business strategist. I'm a speaker coach, author, and just really excited to be amongst all these giants.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's go to Debbie Sluys.
Hi, I'm Debbie Sluys. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and I'm a personal development and empowerment coach with an expertise in vision boards, and I'm the founder of Dare to Declare. And I still do vision board workshops with a lot of clients, but I also have an academy where I teach others to start their business or plug in the vision board as part of their coaching or entrepreneurial business.
That's perfect. Viviana Puello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Viviana, and I am a writer, an artist, curator, and artist coach, and the founder of Art to International magazine, a multimedia platform dedicated to helping artists worldwide with a magazine, a TV show, and all the platforms possible that I can come up with to help artists just share their message without compromising, what they believe in.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Ryan Morris.
I am Ryan Morris. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. And I happened to one day bump into the Nicholas T. Smith at an RV dealership and got lucky enough to spawn a relationship, friendship with him and a business partnership. He had written The Giants and the Smalls and I've co-founded the Tribe of Giants, Wake Up with Giants TV, Sum Gigante, and a bunch of other things. There's too much probably to mention at the moment, but and then because of that, been able to work with all of you and have you on Wake Up with Giants and these panels and everything else. And we just, all we do is we help other people see their giant potential. And I'm grateful for all of you.
Thank you. Jenn Turner.
Hi, I'm Jenn Turner. I'm coming to you from Perth, Western Australia, and I am a HSP extrovert coach. HSP stands for highly sensitive person. So I help HSP extroverts shine their light bright, stop dimming it, stop playing small, and own their uniqueness. And I am coming to you from the future. Yes, we like having that conversation because it is Tuesday morning where I am, if I've got my days right. And I'm just about to become an author because I'm just finishing my first book, which is for highly sensitive extroverts, because most of the info out there is for highly sensitive introverts. So I'm writing something for the extroverts.
That's beautiful. I'm Nick Smith. I'm your facilitator tonight. And I noticed that we do things really professionally here because I put the wrong title up on the screen. So Fanike, you got some extra publicity there.
Yeah, we had her on Sunday. She was amazing.
Really, really good guest. So let's dive in. You know, we're going to just guide this wherever it goes. And the whole purpose here is to serve the audience that's watching. And so our goal is to help people create freedom by becoming giants in their life. And what I want to ask, maybe to kick us off, and just raise your hand if you want to respond, and I'll call on you if we'll go around the room, is what matters most in life? Who wants to tackle that? Yeah, Terri?
For me, it is unconditional self-love, because I was a person who didn't have that, and I was always angry, and I realized I was projecting it onto my family. So what I've recognized is that I was leaving a legacy of lack and unworthiness until I started loving myself. And then I shifted everything in my family. So unconditional self-love is the key for me in everything, in joy, peace, trust, intimacy, a great career, everything that you want. It's based in that.
Can you, I'm going to have you define a word here, unconditional. What does that look like?
For me, it is really having forgiveness of myself and loving myself in spite of the fact that I may not fit into everybody's mold, which was a big deal for me, especially as an intuitive healer, because I had a lot of judgment around me about that. So I had to really embrace that I'm unique, I am different, and love those gifts inside of me, which is really scary for most of us. I mean, we're taught to conform in our society. We're taught to conform in our families. So I recognized for me that wasn't working, and it wasn't working in my family. And I'll tell you just really quickly, years ago, my mother had had a stroke. I was doing a healing on her, and I heard in my ear, "You're not to blame for your mother's pain." And I went, "What?" And then I heard it again, "You're not to blame for your mother's pain." And I realized in that moment that my mom, who had suppressed herself, denied herself, didn't love herself, would get angry. I mean, she was just, typical mom. And I took on the belief that I was to blame for her pain. And I recognized that I was doing that in everyone's lives. I was responsible for everyone, my kids, my husband, friends, coworkers, whatever it was way back when. Right. And so it was recognizing that, no, I'm not. I can't be responsible for everyone's pain. I can only be responsible for where I am and how I am living my life. And so that unconditional self-love of saying, okay, I'm going to love myself no matter what. If I make a mistake, I'm going to learn from it. If I am having a moment where I'm lashing out, I'm going to have compassion for myself and know that at my core, I'm joy and I'm pure love. And if I'm lashing out, there's something hurting. That was a big one for me to learn. Okay. So that's the unconditional aspect of it.
I like that. And Viviana, go ahead.
I love what she said. For me, it ties up to love is following a life of inspiration, living a life that is inspired, which has to do a lot with love. And just following your bliss, what makes you happy in every situation, analyzing your feelings. I think that that's a key for whatever we do. We compromise too much. And that's one of the things that I do at work. And I love what I do is teaching the artists, you can do this, but you don't have to compromise. And we compromise too much from what we study or the work that we have or the career that we follow, the making everybody happy, whatever, either you're a father, a mother, a husband, a wife, a student. We care so much about everybody around us and forget to live the life that makes us happy. So I think remembering and keeping that as a guide of, am I truly enjoying what I'm doing today? Am I truly happy with this person? Am I truly being valued, appreciated? Do I feel happy with the words that I hear from this person? that should be a guide for us. And it's been in my life. I think that's been my guiding, that little voice inside of us, right? That we tend to silence. And it's like it's screaming at you, and sometimes until you get sick, which happened in my life. And I had to discover that, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna follow my bliss. And surprisingly, we think that when we follow that, we are going to either, I don't know, lose the job. I'm going to go broke if I do this, if I don't follow the business structure. And it's the other way around. When you're happy, when you're doing what you really love, is when you have the highest level of energy and you attract the best to your life. So for me, joy and inspiration.
I hear that. Yeah. And Jenn, I'm going to come to you next, Turnham. And Terry's talking about unconditional love. You're talking about following your bliss and listening to that inner voice without compromise. Jenn Turnham, where are you at on that?
Just following on from that, I can totally relate, because for those that don't know, I gave up my career about, 2012, I think it was, to chase my dream to be a singer. And I didn't have, so I relate to, I think, is it Viviana? I relate to what you said about think you're going to lose your job or whatever. I actually did lose my job. I purposely gave it up because it was what was getting in the way of me living my dream. And so I went from a very successful corporate career to being a broke musician, and I was the happiest I have ever been in my life. And I truly believe that doing that is what was kind of the next necessary step for me to end up where I am now. And I think a lot of people have this fear of filling our own cup first, because as you mentioned, we look after everybody else first. But if we fill our own cup first and then we focus on giving from the overflow, that's when we have so much more to give. And what I learned is that looking after me and chasing my dreams and finding a life that was going to fulfill me actually led me to a place where I now believe what matters most in life is the impact that I am going to have on other people or the planet. So it's interesting that the path started out all about me and filling my cup and doing what was going to make me happy, but has led me to a place of now I'm all about serving others and leaving a legacy by helping others change their life and helping others achieve more and fill their cup so that they can experience what I've experienced.
So I've heard that the more you take care of you, the more you can't help but take care of others. Like it's just a natural expression of taking care of yourself. Are there any contrasting views to this? Anybody have a different perspective on what matters most around that? So you're taking care of yourself. You've got self-love, unconditional love, listening to the expressions that come from you. What else might matter most in life as you think about this? Jenn Walter, yeah.
I'm gonna you guys know me, and I think laughter and fun and life can be too serious, and just finding joy in the simple things and just laughing. And I think, as you were talking, Jenn, I was thinking I have this idea of invisible ripples. The more I'm just being me and myself and laughing, that it just spreads to others. And I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's affecting others just by being me. And that's what I've learned to be, that I'm who I am.
It's infectious. Like hopefully you'll laugh during this, Jenn, so we get a chance to hear your laughter. But it's infectious when you're authentic to yourself and you start to express what's going on in you. Others are attracted to that because they know that they're seeing your authentic self. But let's keep going with what matters. So laughter, right? Love. What else matters? Dr. Moreland, I see your face there. I'm going to call on you, put you on the spot here a little bit. What's coming up for you on that?
No, I totally agree. I think it goes all the way back to loving yourself, and then choosing happiness. You know, I think all of us have probably went through that journey where you're this A-type personality where you're on the grind and you want to be successful, and we think success is all the trinkets in life, the titles, the cars, the houses, the clothes. And then something happens in life where you realize none of that matters. And then you realize that, you know, I may, if I'm blessed, if I'm fortunate enough to get 80 years on this planet, and I'm not going to waste another moment trying to impress people who don't care about me, trying to be the person in the limelight and then lose everything around me that's important. And so I tremendously agree that it starts with self-love. Everything has to come from you. Someone else said it. They were in a mean place, and so that's what they were projecting on other people. And you know, you get to a place in life where just loving yourself, loving those around you. We always hear it, right? When you get to the end of the road, you're not going to be surrounded by statistics. You're not going to be surrounded by data. You're not going to be surrounded by, oh, I took the company here, I scaled the company here. You want to genuinely be surrounded by people you love and people that love you. And then being totally sold out to your happiness and understanding that there's 8 billion people on the planet and happiness is different for everybody. And so happiness is personal, and having the courage to go after your happiness. And somebody else said it earlier, you know, I tell people, I explain it like this: for the first, 18 to 20 years of your life, you're doing what your parents want you to do. For the next maybe 20 years of your life, you get married, so you're doing what your spouse wants you to do, doing what your kids want you to do, doing what your career and society wants you to do. And I say, man, these next 40 years that we have, you got to live for you. You got to live for you. That's when you're going to be the most successful, when you're living for you.
I love it. Debbie, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You know, I know you do visions, and I would wonder if there are some common themes that come up when people vision. You know, when we think of what matters most, like Dr. Will, like nobody's going to be there and say things like, oh, I saw you did this, 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 and this, so you're a good person, right? So you matter now, right? But I'm wondering, you know, what beyond all of this, like what's pretty common when people set their visions for life is, what are the common themes that you see? Is that fair to ask?
Sure. Yeah. I think I just saw this on Instagram on his coach's post, and I thought it was so smart. He said the word behave. Huh. Now that word behave has a negative connotation to me. I just think about it in terms of discipline, like you need to behave, right? And he took it and he pulled it apart. Be and have. Behave, right? Behave, be and have. And so most people think about a vision or creating a vision board, like what do I want to have? The stuff I want to have. But actually, it starts with the being. Who do I get to be? The best version of me. And that's what you all have been saying. The happy version, the person that's blissful, the person that dreams big, the person that loves others. That's the highest version of myself. That's the highest version of me, that being. And then the have, it takes care of itself. You don't have to worry about that. And we just get to behave in our highest self. That's what I would say.
Yeah, cool. I like that. So I think of Austin Powers, right? Oh, behave. Right? Oh, behave. So I want to play with the word legacy. So in Latin, the word legacy means it's legatia, to gift by will, right? Dr. Will, to gift by Dr. Will. We'll do it that way. But it's a gift to the world. We had a conversation with Steve Chandler recently, and he said, why would you wait till you're dead to leave a legacy? And I'm wondering what your thoughts are around that. Who's got some thoughts that are immediately triggered by that comment and the idea that legacy is a gift by will? Or is there variation? Ryan?
Well, I listen to Dr. Will a lot, so I feel like I could be an expert in this category because constantly, every time I see him come on, I try to hop on there. But what I know from Dr. Will, and then I'll talk about myself as well. But what I know from Dr. Will is he is doing Dr. Will things, right? We've had this. I've had this on my Facebook profile. Ryan doing Ryan things, Dr. Will doing Dr. Will things. He is the type of man that you would think behind the screen and not behind the screen. I got the opportunity to give him a hug at the Ultimate Coach or the Ultimate Experience in Phoenix. I went up to him like in awe, right, of Dr. Will, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, you're here! Like, oh, this is amazing. And he's like, are you kidding me? You're the giant. You're a giant. And I'm like, oh, it. I think that for me, it's doing that every day as much as I can, is just doing the things that I can do to make an impact, not only for myself, but for other people. I get the opportunity to do this. This is like an ultimate passion project. I love doing this. I love seeing other people that get to get that spark where they see their giant potential, and then they get to do the things that they can do. Because I can't do their work for them. I can't go over there and hold their hand. I can't, as much as I want to with every single person, I can't do it. And so they can go create and be in their own way. And that's for me is a legacy that I can do daily to have an impact in the world where others would say, hey, oh my gosh, well, like, hey, Ryan's doing these amazing things. This is great, but what can I do in my life? And then keep going and turn around and help others along the way.
So I love that. So, everybody has their unique gift, right? We're all born with it. Somewhere it gets buried during that timeline through development and all these things. But there's a point where you reconnect with it. And I want to go around the room and ask you, what is the legacy that you're leaving, or that you're leaving right now, your living legacy? And so, Terri, I'm going to start there, and then we'll just go around this room here. What is your legacy?
I can tell you, years ago, several years ago, when my oldest daughter got married, she said, thank you, Mom. She gave me a handkerchief on her wedding day, and it had the stencil on it. She said, thank you for showing me what a loving, powerful relationship is. And what that was showing me is that a long time ago, I made a decision, like I said, to choose unconditional love, and created that in our home. And she saw that. She saw it with her dad, who then passed away after 17 years. And then my husband now 14 years. She's seen that you can love yourself and have the most amazing relationship with others, and have intimacy and passion and joy and laughter, as Jenn was talking about earlier. There's never been so much laughter in my life as there is now. And to see that that's being given to my kids on a daily basis, and then also to every person that, I can be in the grocery store and start talking to someone and help them see their worth. And I think that's really what unconditional love leads to, is your self-worth. Because most people say, oh, I'm worthy, but yet then their life isn't working. So they really haven't owned their worth. So my legacy now in my work daily is helping people see their worth, to claim their crowns, as I call it, and to know that they are enough, and to see people's eyes sparkle when they realize that, right? And you can see the judgment they're holding on. And I teach workshops and see people go, oh my gosh, when we flip the switch on what they had was judgment and blame and all this negativity about themselves, and to see, well, let's look at the truth of this. Let's flip the label and then go, wow, that's so cool, right? When you get to see somebody wake up to their light, that is the coolest thing on the planet. So that's my legacy.
I love it. Yeah. Claim your crown, right? Yeah. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Jenn Walter.
Holy buckets, Batman.
Holy buckets.
I am a ringtone, so
yeah, you are a ringtone.
I think just embracing yourself and learn to laugh with yourself and not at yourself. A lot of times I used to laugh at myself, and it was degrading humor. But then I flipped it around and laughing at myself, because we all experience the same things. Like, I can say, I tell people now, I'm in pausing right now. And I'll tell you what, I'll be lucky if I don't break up in a sweat. And so it's sharing my life, because this is life, and making fun of what we all experience, because it kind of unites us. And that's my legacy, is not to be afraid that sometimes I'm sweaty.
Yeah. To lighten it a little bit.
You guys, I'm so sorry.
Within our pits here. Yeah, thank you. Will, what's your legacy?
Yeah, so I look at legacy two ways. You know, there's the legacy that you're living, and then there's the legacy that you give. And the one you give, you have nothing to do with that. That's what people are going to say with you, about you, after you leave this world. But the legacy that you live is what, as everybody says, what you do every single day. And I try to challenge people to live now, like to just live now. Because once again, we don't know about tomorrow. We just speculate, we hope, we plan, we have our vision boards, we have our goals and all that type of stuff. But literally all we have is right now. And so what I always try to think about is in the moment. You know, whenever I'm interacting with anybody, how do I want them to leave that interaction? How do I want them to feel about being in my presence? That's my legacy to them. They won't care how many degrees I have. They won't care how many successful companies I ran. All they care about is, in that moment, what was their interaction with me? Because everybody can say, oh, Dr. Will did this, Dr. Will did, and that person's going to be like, well, when I met him, he was a jerk. When I met him, he was this. And so literally being conscious of everything that you do, every activity, every time you show up. We're here right now, leaving our legacy. We're living our legacy right now on this podcast. And so I think it's just being conscious of the fact that to be in the moment is your legacy, to be in the moment. And that's why I try to champion for people to just really live in the now. And I think that's legacy.
Yeah, beautiful. Be in the moment, claim your crown, lighten the load, right? Accept yourself exactly as you are, even if you're sweaty, right, Jenn? Yeah. Jenn Turner, let me jump to you. We'll go a different direction across the bottom here.
Well, I'd like to think that the legacy I'm currently living is that I'm showing all the people out there who are a little bit quirky, a little bit different, a little bit left of center, that two things. First of all, it's okay to be different, and that I think that your difference and your uniqueness is what makes you, and it's what makes you interesting. And so I'm hoping that I'm showing them it's important to own that and stand in your truth and be you. Yeah. And secondly, I hope that I'm encouraging them to keep searching until they find others like them, because it is so rewarding when you do find other quirky, different, left of center people who understand you and get you.
Yeah.
Because then you get that sense of belonging. And that's what I get from so many of my ladies who have that kind of light bulb moment when they realize they're a highly sensitive extrovert. It's the missing piece of the puzzle for them. And then they find this group of other highly sensitive extroverts and they say, oh my gosh, I finally, for the first time in my life, feel understood. I feel like I don't have to explain myself. So I'm just all about encouraging everybody, no matter who you are, to just own your differences, because that's what makes the world interesting. And we grow up thinking that I think someone talked about it earlier, conforming, and we need to fit in and we need to kind of force ourselves into this mold. Whereas I want to leave a legacy of, let's be proud to stand outside of that mold and create our own mold and stay true to that.
It gives new definition to locos, right? Locos in Spanish is crazy. So left of centers, right? Really owning where you are. Yeah, perfect. Ryan, what's your legacy?
Well, I'm super left of center, or yeah. And loco. I said at the beginning that I don't fit in any mold really, but I do love Jell-O. And Jenn and I at the Ultimate Experience, beforehand we had talked about like matching track suits and all kinds of stuff, and so I showed up there with the tracksuit, no shirt on, a big gold chain because she gave it to me, and then my Ryan the Lion underwear and a Superman ring and all kinds of stuff that was all things from other people, right? It was actually a collaboration of, or a collection or conglomerate of things from other people. But then my talk was also talking about I know who I am. And even though like all of these people had had an influence in my life, I still knew who I was. That I'm Ryan Morris. I'm Ryan the Lion. I know who I am, and and what a wonderful gift to be able to get all these little things from all these different experiences in life, and from all these people, where you can take a little bit and it's like throwing it like a clay. I think of building things out of clay, and you just slap a little bit more to you, and you become more and more of who you are, and you find out your purpose. You find out the legacy that you can leave, and so I'm grateful for all these answers are amazing, incredible. But that's for me. It's showing the world loving kindness through being loving kindness.
Yeah, there's that quote that says, "Nothing of me is original. I am the combined effort of everyone I've ever known." Right? It's a beautiful thing. Viviana, what's your take on that? What's your legacy?
I think my legacy is you're the masterpiece. You're the masterpiece. It's I had to learn that, and I'm living that legacy. I live every day that legacy. I remind myself every day, and it's finding the light, right? Not being afraid of being you, not being afraid of criticism or ridicule. Who cares? It's you. Be you. Dare to be local. Dare to be crazy. Dare to do things differently. Step into the light, because I believe a lot of us. There's a point in our life, and I was in a point in my life that I was there, where you are kind of in the dark. You're afraid of showing too much of yourself, because maybe that's that voice inside of you, that self, that dialogue that came from either your childhood or abuse or whatever you went through and conditioned you. So rip those chains and forget that you are a masterpiece. You are a perfect creation. You are beautiful. You are perfect. You are love. You are the essence of this universe. You are the essence of love. You're part of a whole big consciousness that is love. It's pure love energy. And that's what we're perfect. We're not perfect because of the car or the career or the money or whatever external circumstance or situation we're living, the perfect marriage. Forget about that. We are perfect because we are part of this incredible and beautiful loving consciousness, loving energy. And you are perfect. You are the masterpiece, not what is outside of yourself, not the situation, not the moment, not what happened in your past or what's going to happen in your future, because life might happen. Stand on your ground, put the root there, that you are it's in here. The masterpiece, the love comes from here. And that if you stay there, you're not going to be moved like a rock, right? There could come the storm and whatever else. Life is going to come. Things are going to happen. But if you have that clear, you can go through life and find bliss. You're going to love. And when you find that, and I think that's the beauty of it. When we start seeing beauty in ourselves, when we start discovering that beautiful, loving energy, then we see everybody else with the same light, right? It's like put the glasses, put those loving glasses. You see yourself, you step into the light, and you see the world with the same loving energy. And I don't know, everything becomes perfect. Everything becomes much more beautiful. And we become that light for not just the people outside of our family, our friends, everybody. That's a legacy. The legacy is not just what we do here, right? We're living a legacy, and I believe everybody here has an incredible message, and we are touching hearts out there. But the legacy is also the close one, right? the one that is your daughter, your son, whoever it is nearby. So the legacy is here and there. We cannot make a difference on that, and we need to be that light and discover that light.
Yeah, I hear there's a common theme through this, right? Of self-love, self-care, ends up being an expression in the world of legacy, right? It originates, it starts here and then moves outward. Debbie, I'd love to hear yours. What is your legacy?
Well, I'm going to just shift a little bit because I think about, so I'm a Christian, so I'm just going to put that up there. And so I think about like the letter L, right? Love. And so for me, yeah, I'm here, but it goes up, right? So I get my power. So again, you can decide who's on the top of that, but wherever that power is coming from. So it's like vertical, right? So I'm getting the power from here into here. But then when I do that, then I can do this, right?
Like
the other part of the L. So it's like I have to be in connection with the higher, with my creator. I can't just do it by myself because I let myself down all the time. Like I don't eat the way I should. I don't exercise when I should. But yeah, I have like the creator of the universe where everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be in terms of the way it was created with a sense of order. And I have that connection. And then I can pour out to others. And
I like that. Yeah. The from here to there.
Yeah. And so my word this year, my power word this year has been pour. Like not poor. My Canadian accent. I hope you can get the P-O-U-R. Yeah. Pour into, because I felt this sense of needing to hold on to things. And again, I don't know what Vivian was talking about, like it was the little child who just was afraid, the scarcity thing. And I thought, what if I just do this? Oops, where's the camera? Hands open, right? That I'm giving, but then I also have my hands open that I can receive. Because if I'm standing like this, which I did for a lot of my childhood, you can't hurt me, then I'm also deflecting what's supposed to be meant for me. And so I made a commitment this year to pour into my academy, pour into my relationships, just pour. And as someone said earlier, when your cup is full, you can pour, it spills over. Well, what I found was because I had that connection, I was just being poured into, like, shh, like all nonstop. And what's happened is it's just expanded. And I don't have less, I have more and more because I'm pouring out and I have more to give. And so I believe that's my legacy, is that I've been told a number of times, which I'm just feeling so grateful that it's being seen, which is that I'm a generous person. And I was like, oh, I'm so humbled, but yay, yay, and one other thing I would say is radical gratitude. That's the other thing that I want to be leaving as a legacy. And that's something I teach in my Vision Board Academy, is that we're not grateful for what just has happened in the past. So we think about the way we teach our little ones, like say thank you, because that's always past tense. But what if we were radically grateful for what has not yet occurred? We are in this state of trust, belief that everything that's coming our way. So we start our day with gratitude that everything is exactly what it's supposed to be, and that all things are for my good. And I've had tough things, so it's I'm not saying this lightly, but with that type of radical gratitude, we can create a vision, knowing that we just get to create it. We get to live in our best selves and leave it up to the creator for the rest. And that's gratitude, that's trust, and that's belief. And that's what I want to leave as my legacy, to have like radical gratitude around the whole idea of visioning.
I love that. There's the acknowledgement that comes in with gratitude, the acknowledgement of what's good in your life, but you're even going forward into the future of what's not yet there that's good in your life. And there's the acknowledgement of what was in your life and what is in your life. And then to move from that to what's good is powerful, because that's where people really recognize they're mattering, right? I think when people matter, things materialize in their world. So it becomes matter. And but when people don't feel like they matter, they don't create much in the world. They're busy surviving the weight of what is. And so what would you advise somebody that's maybe in a space like that where they maybe don't feel like they matter, or they're not clear on what matters? Anybody want to tackle that? And Debbie, if you have an answer there, you're good. And
what was the question again?
so, if somebody's in a space where they maybe feel like they don't matter. Yeah. Jenn Turner?
I'm going to steal. I'm not sure if you guys have seen Stutz, the Netflix documentary.
Last night I watched it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going
beautiful.
to steal his idea here because I think it was just a really good visual. He talked about the string of pearls, and he said, "I'm going to be the one who puts the next pearl on the string." And he talked about using that as a way for people who are feeling lost, or they're depressed, or they don't kind of have that sense of purpose. And it's a way to kind of give them a little bit of purpose or a little bit of sense of control back. So I'm going to be the one to put the next pearl on the string. And the pearls represent any sort of action whatsoever. So getting out of bed is a pearl, putting a pearl on the string, and creating a string of pearls is essentially just living your life. So it's about you taking back control of those pearls rather than allowing somebody else to be putting pearls on your string. And I just found that a really helpful visual.
Yeah, great visual. And they talked about the speck in the pearl. And
the turd,
the turd in the pearl. But if you think about it, a pearl is created from a single grain of sand, right? And it's encased and grows and becomes this beautiful thing. And so those things that are difficult in our lives, just that action alone allows it to be encapsulated, right? To become beautiful.
Can I just throw in one thing real quick? And Nick, you probably know what I'm going to say, but like, if you don't think that there's something bigger than us, that there's something that's connecting all of us, whether it's God, source, the universe, whatever you want to believe in. I just sent that to Nick yesterday. Was it yesterday, Nick?
Yeah, I watched it last night.
Yeah. And sent that, and then you referenced
phenomenal.
Today. And I don't know, it's just small little confirmations, little like breadcrumbs along the way that say, hey, this is, and it's weird because it happens to us all the time on Wake Up with Giants, where something will come in, one of us will message each other, and then that is brought into our, like, the show, and we didn't introduce it. It is crazy. So anyway, just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, Terri?
I just wanted to add to this thing about mattering. In our society, we're taught that love is putting yourself last, and putting God first is putting yourself last. What I have seen is that as I have loved myself and taught other people how to do this, that you start moving into alignment with God. And this is really putting God first, because you're saying, I'm honoring and loving the way I was created. And so what you're doing is you're saying, I matter. And when you treat yourself as if you matter, you treat yourself as that you're enough and that you're worthy, and take those little steps like you were mentioning earlier. Not only are you feeling worthy, not only are you feeling like you matter, but you're actually putting God first, because you're saying, I'm not a mistake. I'm honoring and loving the way I was created. So I think we've really screwed up this idea of what putting God first is. I think putting God first is putting love first. And sometimes love means creating strong boundaries. It's respecting yourself. It has to start here. And then it overflows to the people around us. So I think we have to get out of this mindset that putting God first is putting myself last, because then we never feel as if we matter. And that's where there's so much pain. That's where we spew our pain onto the people around us, because we're giving and giving to everyone else, thinking this is love. This is this is putting God first. But yet we're not being loving. We're walking around being miserable, depressed, angry, sad, whatever your emotion is that you go to, right? But when we choose love, and we choose and we treat ourselves as if we matter, we're saying, hey, I'm honoring and loving the way I was created today. This is putting God first, because you're putting love first.
Is love acceptance?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that just
I
one
believe it is.
definition of it, or is that a full definition of it? Like, how would you play with that?
No, I think there's more to that. I think acceptance, well, I'd have to think about this for a second. So acceptance to me is saying, I accept what is. Like, who was it? Debbie, was it you saying that earlier about having gratitude for everything? That I live that way. I mean, my first book is called Message Sent, Retrieving the Gift of Love. It's about seeing love and gratitude in everything. And so it is about accepting that here is this gift, and how can I embrace it to learn about myself? But I think love goes deeper, because you can see something and have acceptance, but are you taking it and going deeper into that acceptance so much that it goes into a state of self-love and a state of compassion? So I think it goes deeper than just acceptance.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Right. We use that phrase all the time. I love that. And that's an expression there. What other thoughts do you guys have around mattering and legacy? Viviana, did you have a thought?
Yeah, I want to say something else is also beyond loving ourselves also. And I know we're talking about living and caring about everybody else before us, but there is also that discovering that gift. And discovering that gift is going to help you understand that you matter, because you are going to look outside of yourself. It's going to be higher. It's like, this is bigger than who we are. This is bigger and bigger. I matter. I matter because I have this message. I have this in my heart that I can give you. And coming out of yourself, out of your circle, right? I'm not talking about the people that you worry about. No, just doing one little thing for somebody else that is totally outside of your circle. Maybe giving them a smile for whatever reason. That little step is going to help you. Discovering what can I do today? I feel miserable. Let me just get out of here. I'm going to do something for me. This is going to make me feel good. I'm going to do something for someone that I don't know. It is an exercise.
Yeah.
That you can discover a lot of beautiful things and maybe meet incredible people that are going to truly appreciate who you are.
Okay, let me ask this. This question's coming to mind here. Do you have to be healed to start leaving a legacy?
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
No, we keep our legacy through the process, right?
Yeah.
We keep growing, and as we grow and evolve, we keep sharing that legacy, right?
Yeah. Perfect. So it's an evolution. As you step, you grow into it, and you grow again.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts around that? Yeah, Terri, and then Jenn Turner.
For me, from the very beginning, when I stepped onto the journey for myself and my family, I wasn't healed by any stretch. I mean, I'm still healing. We're all still healing.
Yeah.
But having the courage to commit to healing and to loving myself, that in itself left a legacy. It left a legacy for everyone I came in contact with and had a conversation with. It was about just courage to say, I am committed to this and I'm doing this on a daily basis. I'm going to embrace whatever comes and say, what is it teaching me? That to me has been the biggest legacy.
Beautiful. I loved that when that question was asked about the healing, everybody's head shook. Like unanimously, that's not a requirement for legacy. That's beautiful. Jenn Turner, did you have a thought?
I did. I think the challenge with that, however, though, is that you're going to leave a legacy no matter what, and it could potentially be an unhelpful legacy. So I think it's almost like a lesson in, or a perhaps an opportunity to take a moment and process that and decide, well, what kind of legacy do I want to leave? Do I want to be leaving my children with potential damage, potential issues that they then have to do the work? And it made me think of another thing that Stutz talks about is, and he just has this way of presenting information in just really easy snippets that you can remember and pass on. And he talks about there's three aspects of reality that we need to remember. There will always be pain, there will always be uncertainty and constant work. And so I think if we remember that, then I think it can kind of transform our life. And I think perhaps what Terri was saying about the courage to heal, I think is really important, because if you don't accept that there is going to be constant work in life, it can be very easy to play the victim. And I think that's when you're in danger of potentially leaving an unhelpful legacy, because you're not willing to do what it takes to transform, like Terri did, and transform that legacy that you're leaving for, whether it be your children or just the people around you. And so I think that's probably a really pertinent question for everybody watching this to kind of be aware of, is just think, well, what legacy do I want to leave? Because I'm going to leave one.
No matter what, right?
No matter what. So do I choose to leave a helpful one or a not so helpful one?
Yeah. Wow. What did that bring up? Any other thoughts around that? Yeah, Terri?
You just described my life, Jen. I mean, the reason I got on this journey was I watched my dad die, and I realized I told him I loved him and I didn't want him to leave, and he literally just looked shocked, like that I loved him, because he'd lost everything in bankruptcy, and he just, really messed up in his life. In his mind, I still loved him. And what was so sad is that when I looked at his life, I was like, gosh, Daddy has no forgiveness of himself. He doesn't love himself. And then it hit me that I was like him. And I said, oh my gosh, what am I doing to my family? I've got to stop this cycle. And that's when the courage came in to shift, because I did not want to continue that legacy of lack for my family.
Man, this is what I'm hearing the most is you, whoever's watching this, you are what matters most in this world, right? Mm-hmm. And when you get the courage to live into your legacy, you're going to leave one anyway. When you get the courage to do that, then you really start to express in the world in your unique way. Mm-hmm. But I know so many people that just feel undervalued. They don't value themselves. They don't think they're worthy. They don't think they're good enough. They put all these conditions. You talk about being unconditional. They don't accept themselves, Jenn Walter. Like you said, they don't accept themselves. They sweat too much, right? Yeah. But when
don't laugh enough.
Accept, it's, the beauty of acceptance is you don't have to love what is. It's just an acknowledgement of what is. And it's very powerful because it releases us from the bonds of that thing and allows us to move forward. Any other thoughts around that before we carry on here? Yeah, Debbie?
I also had it deepen for me as well with my passing of my mom. My mom passed about 17 years ago. She's very young, only 63. And, one of the things that I was thinking, though, is about legacy is it feels like it's something that takes a long time to develop. Like we're talking about, and again, I don't know what the definition from the dictionary is, but, I also want to say that it's not too late. Like if you're saying, crap, I've been not a good person. I haven't been kind. I haven't been nice. I'm not loving myself. I'm certainly not loving those around me. You get to decide today. Like legacy can start right now. And that goes into tomorrow and whatever days you've got left. And so I just think that it's never too late to start that. And I think about, my mom, now this was on her deathbed. But expressing love, I think when we talked about the meaning of life, I think the fact that she was able to express to me her love for me, and that's what my memory is of her, like in those last few days, and everything else kind of gets more clouded. I had a good childhood, but there was some things that got messed up, but I got that from my mom, and it was so beautiful to have had her express that. So I just wanted to say about it's never too late to start your legacy.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, Dr. Will, did you have a thought too?
Yeah, I was thinking as everybody was talking, in life, we try to get rid of the things that we think are not beneficial, like pain and fear. And we have to come to a place where we understand, and I think someone said it earlier, that everything is working for your good. And when you understand that it didn't happen to you, but it happened for you, right? Before we got on this call, I just sat on, before I flew back into Phoenix, I sat on the tarmac for 2 hours. And every 15 minutes, the pilot would come on and he says, hey, we're still waiting for maintenance. They need to come sign this paper. We're still waiting for maintenance. And a couple of people got upset, let me off this plane and all this type of stuff. And I know a lot of people felt as though they were wasting their time. Some people said, I'm going to miss my connection. But I sat there and I looked at my wife and I said, wow, that's amazing. Something in the universe is going on that we don't need to be a part of, and it's holding up this whole plane. Whether that's when I landed, I was going to land and get into an accident or something. When I got in my car, I don't know what it was, but in every situation, I try to think of the good, and I try to remind myself that the universe is working for my good. And I so matter that the universe would hold up these other 120 people and hold up this plane for 2 hours. And here's the thing. Whatever the mechanics did, they came and it took them 2 minutes, whatever it was, signing a piece of paper, turning a wrench, whatever it was. The pilot said, the mechanic is here. 5 minutes later, everything's good to go. We're taking off. 2 hours. We sat there for whatever it was, for somebody to come sign a paper. They said the printer wasn't working. I don't know if they had to go to Costco. I don't know what was going on, but the universe held up that plane.
There was a sale at Costco. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you understand that everything happens not to you, it happens for you. And when I started looking, even in my past, all the things that I thought were problems, all the things that I thought were mishaps, all the mistakes that I thought I had made, all the trouble I got into, I look at my life today and I use all of it. I use all of it. I use being molested. I use being born in Compton, California. I use being raised by a single mother. I use the father that I'm today. It's because I didn't have my father in my life. And so I wanted to be a better father. Like, I use everything as fuel versus, well, how could I be a great father? I didn't have a father. Well, how could you expect me to be a powerful man? I got molested. No, everything. And every time I'm in a conversation, I get to pull from this reservoir of experiences, and it empowers me to do the work that I do. And so I think if we would stop thinking that, man, it has to be perfect or it has to be like this, because life is going to be life. You drive your car long enough, you're going to have a flat tire. Not because you're a bad person, not because you're a bad driver, simply because that's life. That's life. And so the more we learn to live with all of this, the more we learn to live with mistakes and failures and disappointments and you know, people mistreating us, all of it is working for our good. And so for me, that's how I remind myself that I matter. Like, in everything, the universe is working for my good in every situation. It may not feel good, it may not taste good. And my grandmother used to always tell me, it's like baking a cake, right? You take raw eggs by themselves don't taste good. You take flour by itself doesn't taste good. You taste sugar, it tastes good, but too much sugar is not good for you. But if you start putting it all together, all those raw eggs, all that flour, that sugar, it begins to make something beautiful. And then you put it in the heat, and the heat is not there to burn you. The heat is there to make you consumable. All of us here are coaches, right? And everything that we've been through, it's made us consumable. So all of our clients can take a bite of us, can eat us, can consume us. And so all the things that we thought were working against us, when we put it all in like the apothecary, and we become this sweet fragrance that when we walk into a room, everyone is left with our scent. and everyone wants a piece of the cake. And we teach people what you can have your cake and eat it too.
Beautiful. Man, we should just wrap up right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. I love what you all brought to the table. I can't believe an hour is already gone. I feel like we could just keep going. The beauty of these panels is that there are all these differing views, but there are these common themes that come out of them, right? The value of a person, the value of the person watching this show is already there. There's like, claim your crown, right, Terri? Claim your crown. Bake that cake. Laugh a little. Sweat a little more. It's okay. Be local. All these things. Really own it. And I love the analogy of the L. Like, allow it to come in and go out from you. These are just powerful things. And being the masterpiece that you already are is just living into what you already are and recognizing that you don't have to be healed to leave a legacy. You just start stepping. And so I just want to honor each of you. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up today? Yeah, Terri?
I just want to be that cake for my husband.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
I was like, Dr. Will was describing all that, and I was like, I got to bake my cake and leave that scent around.
Right?
I'm leaving a legacy.
There you go. I'm leaving my legacy. It's chocolate cake. I love it. It's beautiful. You guys are beautiful people. Is there anything else outside of that? Yeah, Viviana.
Yes. Speaking of fire, something that comes to mind is how everything in life is the fire that turns you into gold. So see it as positive as possible. It's positive. Somebody was asking there, can you burn the cake? Yes. And guess what? You get to make another one. Because failure is part of the success, right? Failing is good. It means you're going.
Yeah.
We cannot see failure, success. We have to see life as it is.
If you have a chance to
fire, it's shaping us into something beautiful, the masterpiece that we are.
I love that. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Angie is one of the most amazing human beings you'll ever meet in your life. She has gone through, she lost her leg, and how many surgeries, Nick, was she up to? But it was like 50 or 60 or 70 or 100 or a billion. She's been through so much, and she says she loves it. I love her. But she's been 42 surgeries.
42.
See,
Wow,
she corrects me live. This is great. If you have a chance, go back and watch her show, because what she does is she gives you understanding about gratitude and seeing a different perspective, and knowing that, hey, you could maybe be served some burnt cake in life, but it is all still good, and it's amazing. We talked about how life can happen. You know, you might be able to say, hey, is life happening to me or for me? And some people might have a hard time with that, because that could sting, because they've had those things. And Dr. Will, you mentioned some of those things in your own life, but you've chosen to flip that and to see it differently and use that as fuel and the fire to leave a legacy. And every single one of you have done that for us, for each other, and for all of our viewers, and for all the people that you serve and come in contact with. It's incredible. So thank you so much for your time and your talents and for your experience, because it's all served.
Yeah, perfect. Everybody, thank you for watching. Remember, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Keep stepping forward. You've got everything you need already within you. So go out there and fall down a few times, get back up, and keep learning. Go bake that cake. We will see you in the next episode.
Love you too.